Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Gamers Council. Yeah, can you feel it? It's getting closer. It is getting closer. We have a great panel tonight. A great panel. We are going to dig deep into some topics and have a lot of fun. And welcome to everybody that's in the chat so far. We get starting off with like about 40 people here. That's right, even on X and on YouTube. So thank you so much for being here. Going to tweet that out here in a second to hopefully get more people coming in. And again, man, the atmosphere is full of positivity. Now there's some negative stuff out there.
Always is, right?
I'm not feeling it.
The positive comes to negative. I just let it roll right off.
Exactly. And you know what? I think the negatives, I think, sorry. I'm not gonna fall for
sorry.
Just don't care.
Exactly.
Just don't care. Well, look who we got with us tonight. We have a returning panel member that we love, absolutely love. He is amazing, insightful, and has a great mind for gaming, and that is One Bad Mother. One Bad Mother, welcome, sir.
Well, thank you. I was like, wait, you're not talking about me.
He's like, who that?
what? No, thank you guys. Always, we have a good time talking.
We
Last
do.
few times I've been on, I think we kind of bring a little bit some different perspectives and kind of try to meld it all together, right? So, looking forward because I think there's a lot of stuff going on that's. For me, I'm in the same boat overall. I'm looking forward to a lot of things right now. It's like I just kind of want to put some of the drama on hold for a little bit, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple things we're going to have to address today. But so I'm looking forward. Yeah, looking forward to diving in today though. So thanks for having me back.
Awesome, well, dude. Thank you so much for being here. And then we have NerdPropellant, Travis. Tavish, I keep saying it wrong, man. Tavish. Oh, I put an R.
Sound it out.
Hello, Tavish. Tavish McHill. I'm sorry, now he's Irish. No, I'm just kidding. So Tavish is here from NerdPropellant, and of course, if you haven't seen his amazing Etsy store, you definitely need to check it out. In the description below, of course, is a links to all these guys, as well as NerdPropellant's store. And dude, it is awesome. I mean, so many cool things, especially now that Sea of Thieves is everywhere. But see a bigger audience buying your stuff. But there's also some other really cool stuff in there, and you need to check it out. There's also a code if you put that code in where you get a discount just by putting in the code of. That's in the description below.
20%, I think, if I recall. Is that right?
Yeah, it was 20%.
Pretty
unless you change it, Tav.
Whatever you're willing to discount, we appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
So, dude, how are you feeling, man? You doing good?
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm quite immersed in the Hellblade vibe right now. It's like pouring rain where I'm at right now. So, very familiar.
That sounds very Hellblade.
That game.
Very much Hellblade.
So, yeah, I'm excited. Ready to dive into some topics with you guys.
Fantastic. Like I said, this is like your third time back, and we appreciate you being here, man. We do like what you bring to the table. So, like I said, perspectives. One Bad Mother, OBM was saying it's what it's like here on the council, and we like that. And plus the chat too, man. Oh my gosh, so many great members in the chat. Oh my God, Xbox Era is here. Talis Ray, Fark you. Would love Fark you. Arcu's here. Shaun T. Oh my gosh, so many great members of the chat are here already, and more coming in all the time. So thank you so much. Talis Ray's here as well. Did I say right? I may have, but Eternal Shaddai is here. Thank you. So Pixelbit G. Hey, I like that. The Pixelbit, awesome. Glad that you're here, buddy. So anyway, there's so many over 100 people watching us now on YouTube and on X, and of course this show would not happen. And I'm telling you, I'm not just blowing smoke, because he definitely is a cornerstone that gets this show where it is. And it's RHETRI, buddy. What's up?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Dave? Good to be here, man. Talking some more games. I like what's going on with Xbox right now. I think it's a good time. I think it's a happy time, and I think it should be. I think it should be celebrated. All these games coming. It's going to be Gaming Christmas, June 9th. So I'm looking forward to it, man. And I'm just ready to play some more games. Some more first-party games. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What was it that Reforge said?
Oh god, I
Something
don't know, but who
Brilliant, I'm
cares?
sure. Yeah.
I don't. I forget that guy's
point
even
that
a thing.
that he said
Yeah.
that was like you just like wow, your credibility is completely gone when you say
Like,
this. That there's no
Jimmy
there's no
Neutron.
Xbox exclusives anymore because all games were coming everywhere. Whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Game
What a
Pass, the
cool-
exclusive sucker. Go pay more, dumbass. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is. And of course, earlier we had Shaun was on. Actually, he was in the chat. He probably bedtime
Yeah.
right now, but
Yeah, he's
just
sleepy
to let
time.
everybody know that next week's show we are going to have is going to be a little different because next week's show it is going to be all about the chat. Meaning we may have some guests that normally come on that will jump in, which is cool. But we're going to actually be bringing in the chat into the screen. Like we'll be putting out links and stuff. And it'll be depending on how many people we have that want to jump in, we may have to move some people in and out throughout the show. But that'll be fine. That's also a night that I'm off, so I can go long. Anyway, so. Pause? No pausing. Full throttle. Anyway, so yeah, what? We all right. So we have a super chat. Let's get that one real quick. Let me pull it up here because I'm hitting the wrong
My
button.
guy.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. The show can begin now. It's
Never
official.
fails. Adidas 20 with the $10 says, "What's up, everyone? Into work overtime. I'm sorry, brother. Retro, you know where I'm going in July. Catch reply. Talk that shit. Yes, sir. He'll be coming to Charlotte, man. He's gonna come and see the Bulls and Charlotte game. We're gonna fucking hang out, dude. So
Very cool.
Absolutely. Shout out to you, Adidas, man. Appreciate you, brother. And make that money, man. Make that money. I know you know how. You definitely do. That dude's a hard worker, man. But yeah, definitely appreciate you, brother. Game Pass for the win, Dave Rizzi. That's right. Game Pass for the win, always.
Yeah. So Fark, I don't understand what you mean by your statement there.
What's Fark you saying? Yeah. Dave, what? Get Dave to show it on screen. I'm not sure. I don't know where you're going with this, Fark. You could be going in so many different directions, brother. I know how you are.
But somehow I think it's dirty. But
I did too. It's usually where Fark you goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Adidas, what's up, brother? Member for 8 months. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man.
All right, man. All right, dude. Well, I guess let's get the party started. Retri, I will turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. The question we always ask when you come on the show, OBM, we'll start with you in the upper left-hand corner. What have you been playing in any movies and TV shows that have caught your interest lately, man? Start with games, of course.
Yeah, first thing I've been playing is probably what a lot of people have been playing, and that is Photo Mode the game. No, Hellblade 2.
Oh, he's starting off spicy. Let's go. Photo Mode the game. I love it.
No, I actually enjoy the heck out of that. I'm sure we'll get into that. But
Sure.
besides that, I've started to dive a little bit back into the last Yakuza RPG. So I've kind of had that. Cool. Infinite Wealth has been sitting there, and I got, I don't know, 20, 30 hours into it, which means I got past the tutorial and the intro. So now I'm trying to get into the game.
Yeah.
That's
I just laughed when you said that because I played one of those not too long ago, and I swear to God, I was talking to one NPC for 20 minutes. I shit you not. I swear it was 20 minutes. I was like, when is this going to end? Yeah.
They're great games, but you definitely got to bring your patience and some time with you. So, and then like usual, I'm always jumping in to Halo every week or two to see like how far my Twitch skills are regressing at this age. I'm trying to keep them up.
Oh, BM, you're pretty good, dude. I played with you a few times, man. You almost always, I feel like you're at the top of the leaderboard when we play with you. So
we're gonna need a 50-plus-year-old Masters League soon. That's the only way.
Fine. I'm okay with that. Let's go.
So, but yeah, those have been the three games I've been cycling between. Besides that, I haven't really watched a whole lot since Shogun. Finished that up recently.
So
good. Other than that, yeah, haven't had a whole lot of time for TV. Like just getting any time to sit down and game has been a little bit of a challenge. But
sure.
But did have a chance to get into the stuff that we needed to get into for this week. So I look forward to talking about that.
Excellent. Awesome. What about you, Tavish? What have you been playing, brother?
Basically Hellblade. A little bit of Super Mega Baseball. I'm a huge fan of that series.
Oh, cool.
So that's kind of my zone out, not think kind of game. When I'm talking
we
to
need
Abe,
games
if
like
he's
that.
boring me, then I'll be playing that.
Poor Abe.
But Hellblade is that is
It's a game.
special. That's a masterpiece in my opinion. I'm super excited to talk more about it. I know that I don't want to spoil anything for anybody here, but it's exciting to finally have games like that on Xbox, because we don't have too many of those.
Yeah, we finally got our movie games, or that too. OBM. I mean, that's a good point. Right, absolutely. Dave, are you with us?
I am.
Okay. All right. I was going to ask you what you've been playing. I just wanted to make sure you were here.
Oh, cool. I appreciate it. I was tweeting out the show on X and everything. Make sure we
gotcha.
We got it all covered. Plus eating my sandwich, my dinner at the same time. So yeah, but yeah. What have I been playing? Well, okay. So I found out what Farkey was talking about.
Okay.
So
were we correct in assuming it's risque? It's a little risque coming from Mr. Farkey, or is it okay?
No, it's slanderous, and I love it. Anyway, so we're gonna show, and of course it ties into what I'm playing. So, oh goodness, let's see here.
I hope it's what I'm thinking of, even though I doubt that it's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I know what it is. Of course it's that.
Yep, that was it. That's what I was thinking of.
I should have known.
That's pretty brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, internet, you never fail us. You never fail us.
If she looked like that, you wouldn't see any photo mode comments at all. No one. Everybody's too afraid to go into it.
Oh man, you gotta love it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Farkey.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, what's up, Paris? Paris is in here spitting his usual rhetoric about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh, he says it should be on the ColecoVision now. All right, there you go.
I think it should be at the show. I really do think it should be at the show. Don't you think, Paris? Maybe you should introduce it, Paris. Just saying.
Yeah, Paris. What do you tell us what you're doing, Paris? Yeah.
No, that's Paris is awesome and a friend of the show. We highly respect his opinion here, and we're looking forward to see if he has any part in or participation with the weekend events on the 9th with the showcase and or other events that are there, because he has he's a lot of cool stuff that he does. So anyway, so Paris, awesome to see you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Dude, great game. I love it. It is absolutely. I mean, I'm nowhere near where I need to be on it, but I get to play for a couple hours. I'm really loving it. Really enjoying it. I don't. Maybe I just go in it with doe eyes or something, like deer in the headlights or whatever. But I'm like, it's a beautiful game. It's fun to play. I can play it. It's it's great. I don't know what to be able to, if I was to give it a score just out of the blue right now, not even finished it, it's 90s plus for me, because it's that kind of game. It's that cool. So anyway, that's there you go. Okay, so here's what Paris had to say.
Nope, not on the show this year, but we'll be in attendance at the showcase. Okay, gotcha,
Very
Paris.
cool.
Thanks for clarification there, buddy.
Very cool.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yo, that's Dreamcast Guy Pig. Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
And Dirt will be here along with Shaun in 2 weeks. The night of the showcase, they're going to come join us to talk that shit, talk all about break it down, the showcase, what we saw, what happened, and what to expect from the future of Xbox. Looking forward to it. So anyway, So, and RHETRI. So what about you, buddy? What have you been playing?
Well, I obviously finished Hellblade 2. I, spoiler alert, think it's absolutely excellent. I think it improves on everything that the original game did. I think that's what a sequel is supposed to do. I'm a little confused by what people thought it was supposed to do. Like maybe be a completely different game. Some of these scores I think are complete bullshit. I know some of y'all get tired of me talking about the Xbox tax, but fuck it. I don't care. I think it's real. I think it's real. And I think the numbers kind of prove that. When you have a game that, was good and you have a game that's now better, I don't understand how you can market considerably lower, but that's just me. Dirk Griggity, appreciate you, brother. I just became a YouTube member, so let's go. Appreciate that, man. But yeah, I've been playing that, playing a lot of Diablo. Got back into Diablo because the new season's just easy to level up, so I really like that. Playing Necromancer right now with exploding corpses and all that jazz. Love Diablo. I think it's an excellent game. So happy that Microsoft picked up that studio, as well as all the other studios they picked up over the last 6-7 years. But yeah, I think it's a good time to be an Xbox gamer, man, or just a gamer in general, whether you're on PC or Xbox or mobile or wherever the hell else you can play your Xbox on, your Samsung frickin' refrigerator or whatever else devices they're going to be on next. Who knows? But times are good, man. I'm just happy to be a gamer. All this doom and gloom, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I got more games to play now than ever. It's weird to me that people are inciting this weird stuff. Yeah, but hey, we're here to have fun and talk some games, so that's what we're gonna do, man.
Sounds like a good one. RHETRI, let's get the ball rolling. Where do you want to start first, sir?
I'm going to start. I always like to start with like some quick news. So just some topics for anyone who hasn't been following what's going on in gaming stuff. Black Ops 6 obviously is the new Call of Duty. But what some of us surprised is that the game is actually going to be on the last gen consoles. I don't know why I'm surprised. It's money, right? They'd be just leaving money on the table, but I would have liked to personally see them step into the new gen. It's 4 years in. I thought maybe this would be the game to kind of push it to the to the other side, get everyone to get excited about this current gen. But here we are. I guess Call of Duty will be on the old gen as well. So maybe that has to do with all the PlayStation 4 guys that are out there, because 48% haven't upgraded to a PS5. And I think those numbers are, yeah. I'm not saying it's just PlayStation. So I'm sure like across the board, I think it's just too much money. It's just too much money to be left on the table. But what do you guys think? What do you think about this OBM? Would you have liked to see them go into the next iteration? The current consoles, or do you care? Does it bother you at all?
I mean, personally. I love to see innovation in tech, and we haven't seen a lot of it this generation. It's been a lot of cross-gen games, and so yeah, of course, I would have liked to see it. Of course, when they launched the new consoles in 2.5 years, I hope they go all in and leverage some of the new technology that come out with then. But we do know the realities of these days, which is that I was looking at the top 25 of the most played games on the Xbox a few weeks before the Starfield update, which I'm guessing bumped it a little bit. But before that update came out, the top 25 games all had Xbox One versions. Everything that was that top 25 engagement, every one of them had a previous gen version. You look at all the top things people are playing, most of them are available last gen. More than half the base.
We saw that across the board too, right? OBM, we saw that across PC, PlayStation. Remember when they did that article not too long ago that said the average game was 7 years or older, essentially. So I guess people still like those older games. 7 years isn't too old in my opinion, but yeah.
Well, and you think about it too. It's like this is the least surprising thing that's come out this week, because when you think about the fact they're going to support the next Switch, right, which is going to be PS4 levels according to rumors. PS4 Pro
absolutely
levels, right. You got that aspect. This is one of those black hole games that you want to be everywhere on. They're doing cross progression on mobile. They're still going to have Warzone. I don't think it's time for them to segment the base, and so.
Yeah, I mean, clearly not with those numbers, right? You just why would you? I guess
it's too much money, and honestly, I think on the flip side of it for Microsoft, I don't even know at this point, and I could be wrong here, but I don't even know how important it is right now for them to make a push to get people to make these big upgrades. I do think it may cost them a little bit when it comes to their own first party, because a lot of those are next gen only. But then again, I don't know that the base of people that are still sitting back really care about those games anyways, right? They're
Right.
pretty happy, I think, playing black hole games on last gen, and it costs Microsoft money to sell more consoles, to sell consoles today because of where the chip prices are at. So it's not if you upgrade these people, if you force them to upgrade to spend the same amount of money they were going to spend before, it's a net loss, really. So I think it makes more, So honestly, it from a business standpoint, it makes sense. At the end of the day, most people play these games to play with their friends, and it's the way it feels and all that stuff. So this isn't the one that really, for me, that I'm hoping, or even having the hope of it taking that next step. It's, you can scale visuals, so hopefully they do still, push them, give us a little bit of next gen juice on the visual side of things. But overall, no, not a shock, and I actually wouldn't expect the next one either. I'd be surprised. Like, even though GTA is expected to move things soon, I'd still be surprised if Call of Duty stops supporting older hardware anytime soon. So
no, that's a good point, OB. I mean, you brought up resolution like scaling too, and even like Diablo has resolution scaling on the fly, and it is phenomenal. You can't even see it like when it dips down. So, or at least I can't tell. I was staring at it last night to see if I could tell when things were going crazy, and I just couldn't. So I think technology has just advanced so far that these things are just really hard for the naked eye to see. But Tavish, what do you think about this whole thing? Does it bother you that we're not going into this new gen, or do you think it just makes? I mean, it makes sense business wise, but does it bother you as a gamer that they're not pushing this forward?
I don't play much of those games, to be totally honest with you. If I do play Call of Duty, it will be the single player. If it looks cool, I have very low expectations anyway with those games, even in single player still. But they are usually historically very strong on their tech, so it is a little disappointing. But on the other hand, I'm not particularly invested in it anyway, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It makes more sense to me business wise. Also, like I think that it's, why not let GTA do the heavy lifting for you and take their little bit of sales loss and then use it to your advantage in the next, say, 2 years whenever you switch over. And they may not even do that. They may just jump right into, the next gen as their focus, whatever that is in 2026 anyhow. It's kind of hard to tell right now. But I think that, with these games costing this much, and if they are going to put this on Switch 2 in the near future, which they told regulators
I think they kind of have to.
It makes sense that you would be targeting kind of around the PS4 kind of spec area, I think. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. The Switch 2 thing, like, and them having to go on with Nintendo for this game makes a lot of sense. And like OBM said, it being equal to somewhat like a PS4, it's like, why the hell wouldn't you just have it for the PS4? Just give it to everybody, right? Just make a ton of money, and hopefully the gamers will reap the benefits of that. But we'll have to see. Dave, do you have anything that you want to add to that? Or go ahead.
I was just going to add one more thing. I think I hope the benefit to us is the indirect stuff, right? Like, they get the money. That's what I mean, right?
I didn't mean with Call of Duty. I mean indirectly in every other way except outside of Call of Duty. Yeah, like
you hope that Call of Duty basically just paints that whole division with a profitable brush, so that we don't have another Tango situation or whatever, right? So unfortunately, that is the reality of kind of what they're looking at. So the more, I think that the better Call of Duty does, the better the situation will be for Game Pass, for for other opportunities in the near future, and staffing and all that stuff. So that's where I really, and that, I guess that's one of the reasons why I, the more I think about it, I'm not only not bothered, it's like, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, because I'm not in there for technical innovation with Call of Duty. Go make your money, fund some cool, innovative stuff on the side.
You mentioned Game Pass. That actually made me think of something interesting. So I wonder, because Stephen Totolo had he did a sort of a survey recently, right, where he looked at, I think it's 300 or 400 last gen gamers, and he asked them why haven't they upgraded, and a lot of them were saying things like black hole games and whatnot. And he noted some of them were so on the Xbox side were just saying, well, hell, I just have xCloud, I'll just stream it that way. I can play my next gen game that way. I don't need to. And it makes me wonder, like, I wonder, with Call of Duty getting into Game Pass, launching day one into Game Pass this year, it sounds like, I do wonder if more of those black hole gamers don't just say, well, let me go ahead and try out this service, and they may find, actually, I can just stream everything next gen with my Game Pass Ultimate subscription. So that sector on last gen on the Xbox side might very well swell up and become a larger group of people that are still able to access next gen games without actually buying the console.
Yeah. I mean, it's foreign to me. I would never do that, but I'm the old guy in the room now, and I think I'm starting to realize that, where these xCloud could really actually start moving the needle maybe soon. Like, it will be interesting to see what happens with Call of Duty specifically in these older gen these last gen gamers, essentially, if they're going to hop in a Game Pass and really use cloud. I would think it would be cool. It'd be exciting. It's a revenue that I think Microsoft really needs to see grow, and I think it is the future. It's just like, is it too soon type of thing? Like, are we actually going to see a percentage of people really use it? I don't know, because we already know,
gap, right?
Yeah, we already know. They said, like, it's near to nothing. Like, people are using it for the same reason I was using it, to test out a game and then maybe download it later. But they weren't sitting there fully playing like a ton of games day in and day out on cloud. But they might be soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could be a thing really soon. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. Dave, did you want to add anything to the discussion on the whole Call of Duty stuff, or?
Yeah, because I'm
you're the Call of Duty guy. I know.
Yeah, but yeah, you're so old.
Dude, I am an old gamer. I ain't touching that cloud shit. I tried it. It's not for me, bro. I don't even like the mobile thing. Also, not for me. You know what I mean? So I consider myself, part of the bearded gaming guy, gray beards of gaming type of situation, because I don't care about any of this shit, to be honest with you. I think it's interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. Good on Xbox, good on Microsoft. Like, I know it's the future, but right now it's just not for me. But
no, I'm with you. And it, but all right. So the more it's available, especially now, the first one out of the gate, that it's available everywhere, is going to be more money for Microsoft to continue their world domination. I mean, the growing of their brand.
Yeah, the new world order. Yes. Okay.
Was that allowed? Yeah. I mean, because if they want to become number one, which they will, then this is the way to do it. They need to make the money, make the revenue, and the more it's available, Now, for me, I think the one that'll be telling, or the one that they should go ahead and bite the bullet and go up to quote unquote next gen, or at least this current gen only, will be when they release the next gen console. 2026 is what we're hearing.
That's what we're
hearing. When you have what they call a platform mover, which is going to be the Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah,
because it's already said it's not going to be on last gen consoles, so it'll be on current gen, which is what we have now, and then beyond. So people are going to want to play that game, and they will go ahead and bite the bullet and upgrade to the next gen consoles, especially if there's maybe this holiday a $200 S Series S that you can play all those great games on in Game Pass. And
that's what I'm saying, dude. If that thing hits $200 and COD's attached to it with marketing, how, during the FTC, they talked about like Game Pass and how this would be sustainable, and it's just to hit 2 million people. And I'm thinking, that doesn't seem hard to do.
Right. Yeah.
Call of Duty, you only need 2 million more subscribers for this to kind of balance out. That does not seem like a hard thing to do, in my opinion, especially with what you just said as a possibility of a Series S going down to 200 this holiday. That would be crazy. So I think it'll move the needle.
Me too. So to that point, for this game coming out this year, it's cool. But the next one, or the one after that, they have to go ahead and migrate
on.
people to the new system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, people talking
But
about.
I mean, they have to, right? Because if we just said 2026 might be the new one, you'd only be 1 year away from the next gen. It's
right,
like,
exactly.
Jesus.
And people talking about the potato holding people out of the potato. Well, it's PlayStation 4
or it's the PS4
is holding people back. Just
Maybe
saying.
it is. Yeah.
So,
I mean, if
of course
that's
we
what
don't know
moves the
Nintendo's
industry,
got,
right?
so
If that's what all these
exactly.
developers are developing for, and no one's moving over, if half of the entire crowd isn't moving over yet, I would say it might be the fault of the PlayStation 4 and the old Xbox because people are just not moving over, right?
Well, and let's throw it, and let's not forget that even though it's not here yet, they're anticipating the Switch coming over, right? And I think people underestimate, like we always, every time I hear discussions on like the console wars and stuff. Number one, I don't think Microsoft is really that invested in it, but anymore. But beyond that, I look at where the Switch could end up being when the next version comes out. And up until now, it's always been this complementary device, the thing that you get that's kind of offsets the other thing you get from either Microsoft or Sony. But in the near future, I think it may be a direct competitor in terms of engagement for core consumers or for the mainstream consumer, because it does sell a lot, but a lot of those people go back over to their PlayStations after, right, or their Xboxes. I think in the future it could actually be the thing that's going to now be a real competition for those other platforms when it comes to the gamers. And I also think that that's going to weigh into the third-party developers. I think they're going to continue to target that spec where more than half of the the core consumers are today, and now you're going to add in all those Nintendo people where that wasn't really a platform that you were focused on if you were a big third-party developer. But now EA and Activision and Take-Two and all these giant publishers, you got to assume they're not going to ignore that. And so I think that only strengthens that's only going to hold things back longer, I think, for now, until I don't know when, right? But yeah, that's something we got to factor in. I think Nintendo is the thing, the one variable that gets overlooked a lot.
You know what? You're very right, OBM. I almost want to retract what I said, because I think you're making honestly, I think he's making a ton of sense. I think a much bigger factor than PS4 and the old Xbox is Nintendo Switch, and I think he's right. I think we're seeing a shift right now, where more third party is getting interested in Nintendo. So he brings up a really damn good point. And the Switch 2 ain't here yet. So
right, yeah. Especially out east where they dominate, right? They dominate in certain regions of the world where these publishers now have an opportunity, to actually expand the reach, because Nintendo does penetrate, other segments and other markets that some of these other platforms don't reach as much, including Japan. And I don't know how viable these games are in Japan, but it's just another thing to factor, because if you are looking for growth, and everybody is right now, and you're looking for mind share, that is the most important thing, especially with all these paradigm shifts, is how relevant is your IP after all the chairs move around and everybody finds their seat, right? You gotta figure out how to grow the mind share, and so Nintendo is absolutely in play, and so unfortunately all of us tech heads are going to be I think wanting for a little bit. So
you make a good point. I think you make a good point on that. Whatever. As long as the games come out and the gameplay is good, I'm not too concerned about getting 20% more whatever resolution frames or whatever. I think we're in a pretty good spot right now anyways. But speaking of Nintendo, let's at least talk about this real quick. Nintendo acquiring the studio that ported Hogwarts Legacy. I think this is Nintendo acquiring a studio is first of all odd. So the studio is Shiver, notably is a studio that somehow managed to bring both Mortal Kombat 1 and Hogwarts Legacy to Nintendo Switch in 2023. Given the enormous gulf in power between the Switch and the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, this was no easy task, and the results left quite a lot to be desired. Naturally, these things get stripped down, right? Like if you're doing a port to a Switch, it's not going to be on par. But merely getting feature complete and functional versions of these games up and running on Switch could be considered an achievement in itself. Now, I will be getting the next Switch when it comes out in 2025 or whenever the hell it actually does come out, and I am interested in it. But the reason I even brought up this story is because some people are alluding to possibly Nintendo maybe going beyond into other platforms, like maybe Xbox, probably more likely PC is what I'm thinking. But I think it'd be pretty damn awesome if Nintendo spreads their wings a little bit and uses Shiver as kind of their porting house for PC. Maybe I might just be like putting on my tinfoil hat here. But Nerd, I'll go to you first. Like, what do you think about this whole thing about Nintendo acquiring Shiver and what it could possibly mean for other platforms?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I also think about just holistically the makeup of the library, hypothetically, right, on the Switch 2. And I do kind of wonder, with so much third-party competition, especially stuff that's focused on engagement numbers and black hole games that, Call of Duty or otherwise, that will be on the Switch 2, it does make me wonder, how does Nintendo see that in terms of its own competitive landscape for its own games on that system? Because, I mean, traditionally, they've been, since the Super Nintendo days, they've been like overwhelmingly dominant as the number one publisher on their own platform. And I do wonder, is that going to challenge them a little bit more? Or are they going to need to try to go above and beyond with production values compared to what they have been doing the last few cycles? And if so, what does that suggest about, they're going to be in the same situation that Xbox and PlayStation are in, where they're trying to sort of, squeeze blood from a stone and trying to get as much profit as they possibly can, and to reach, possibly they may, want to go and reach a lot more customers beyond their box. And if the early games on the Switch 2 are only doable on Switch 2 and don't have some Switch version, I mean, they're kind of starting from scratch, right, in terms of the actual addressable user base. So it does make me wonder, is there any possibility they might look to put these games on even like not just PC, like you had mentioned, that's sort of like the obvious one, I think, but possibly even, certain mobile devices or something like that might be something they might look more into. Because, I mean, that's an enormous number of gamers that in the next several years probably will have hardware in their pocket that is strong enough to run these games. And they may. I mean,
they're doing that now, anyways. So, like Yobi said too in the chat, they have already dipped at the mobile. I mean, I played like a Mario game years ago. Not a lot. Yeah, they're definitely not. They are not. They kind of dip their toes in, but they are not in it. Like Microsoft is right now.
But I think they might. I think they might do more than just dip their toes in the water potentially here. And it would be great if they could put stuff on, Xbox and PlayStation. More people, more the merrier for, everybody, of course. And they may start looking at things like, what does a Nintendo service game look like? We don't know. We don't know if that's something they're interested in. It's a little bit hard to kind of read them because they do always.
Well, it's
feel
Nintendo.
Like 15 years.
There's no reading Nintendo.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
it's true.
So we'll have to see, I guess, what that turns into. I do think that I think Wario in his tweet sort of quoted them, and it was like the way it was phrased was distinctly different than like the sort of blurbs you'd hear from like Totoki whenever he talks about PlayStation games being on multiple platforms, and people kind of let their imagination run amok there. But in this case, it was phrased in a way where it said something like, what was it? It was like, we want to continue porting games to various platforms, including Switch. And it's like, that just does not read like you're just talking about a Switch 2 or
no, definitely not.
It sounds very.
Hopefully that wasn't lost in translation, but yes.
Good point. That's a good. Well, that was Shiver though. I don't know where Shiver is located. I'm not sure, but.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know either actually where they are located, but OBM, you want to add anything? Am I just crazy? I'm probably crazy thinking Nintendo's going to go to PC. I'm just kind of hoping it, but the mobile thing makes 1,000 times more sense because they've already dipped their toes there. But.
So I don't think it's crazy to ask the question, right? Like if you're going to ask me to make a prediction on Nintendo, that's freaking impossible. Like
exactly,
spin the wheel, right? Yeah, like luck. Whatever. I spin the wheel and it comes up They're going to make cardboard boxes and sell it,
right?
Like hefty margin.
Exactly.
That's
again.
Right? They did.
Cardboard box 2.0.
Labo was literally what that was, right?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. But yeah, but they are the hardest to predict. But you know, like it is worth asking the question though, and just kind of like keeping an eye on things because we all keep making a like this is. As a gray beard, right? Like, and I know I got to shave down a little bit here, but it actually is kind of gray. You know, as gray beards, we've seen this multiple times where people said this will never happen. My dad saying people will never want to stop going to the store, to these stores because it's the social experience, and then you watch them all close down one by one and Blockbuster go away, and you know
breaking my heart.
The blue light special, whoever would have thought that would have got ended. You know, like there's just, you see that, and we also can't forget, like Nintendo is as infallible as they seem to be today. And people always say, well, they just always do their own thing and just dominate. Well, that's not actually true. If you look historically, Nintendo rode a roller coaster over generations. You know, they took a step back with the, you know, N64 in terms of market share. They took a big step back with the GameCube. They came back with the Wii. They took a huge step back with the Wii U. Yes, and they are in a great position today. But again, that is today. They dominate a handheld market where there's really not a lot of competition today, and we don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know how cloud's going to change things. We don't know how, you know, like, you know, whether, you know, the mobile starts to just make the handheld less relevant over time. You know, like there's a lot of, because we're starting to see now with the way that the chips are advancing and the technology is advancing and the AI is advancing, that the mobile device, the stuff that's in your pocket may be able to get to a level like locally, not even waiting for cloud, but even locally, that is going to be good enough for core gamers casually, or the casual, you know, like, or at least hit that level that you're used to with their things. And so I don't rule out any possibilities in terms of them wanting to experiment more over on mobile, or even them putting their things on PC, because if you do think about the PC things, that the games that actually do the best worldwide historically, they usually are the ones that will run on the lower end PCs, right? And they know how to make, like, their art style, their visuals and everything would be excellent to scale down to potato PCs, to have the thing that everybody has. And at some point, you know, I won't be surprised to see them, to, you know, I'm not predicting this, but it wouldn't shock me if they took a little step back in terms of this upcoming, you know, switch to, in terms of like sales versus where they were, because they were a really novel thing initially that was extremely unique. You know, where the Switch came in, there was nothing like it in the market. A ability to take your core gaming experience, things that gamers have been playing since 30-40 years ago, take those experiences with them on the go, was just such a novel, you know, interesting paradigm, you know, for certain people was a paradigm sort of shift personally, to be able to do that sort of thing. And I think that novelty is going to start to wear off as you see everybody do it, right? Because you're going to see Microsoft do it, Sony do it. You're going to continue to see OEMs and third parties put out their own things, and eventually the stuff will probably get more affordable over time. So they do got to, I think everybody in the industry has to at least have their toes in some other water to be ready to grow in other ways if the thing that they've always dominated at starts to lose steam. And I think it could, right? So yeah, I don't think you're crazy is what I'm saying. That was a long way to say you're not that crazy.
I'm glad. Hey, I'm just glad you got there. I'm just glad we got there. And for me, it's a little bit of wishful thinking. I would love to see Nintendo games go just anywhere else, just for an experiment outside of mobile too. But because I'm not a big mobile gamer, but I might have to start becoming a mobile gamer if that's the case. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Good on Nintendo for making a good acquisition in Shiver. I think it makes a ton of sense for them to do that. But some more news that we got is from Jez Gordon. He says he sent out this tweet. He says, was it already known Avowed had moved to Unreal Engine 5.3 with support from Xbox Tech /Coalition? Because it has. So I know a lot of people are not big fans of the Unreal Engine. I am for certain reasons, and not a fan for some obvious reasons. But I think it's interesting to see that Avowed is moving up to 5.3. I don't know if they were on 5.2. I'm not sure exactly where they were previously, but it sounds like they're moving into a slightly better version of UE5, maybe less issues with it. I know 5.4 was a big step up. I'm not quite sure exactly what 5.3 gets them. But happy to see that is happening. We also got, I guess we could talk about this. This was on the quick news list too that we had, a Sony showcase, or state of play, or whatever they're calling it.
Newsletter, maybe? What is something?
The newsletter. I don't know. I know a lot of people are like hoping, thinking some insiders are saying it's going to happen or be announced in the next few days and possibly happening like next week. I don't know. Do you guys have any insight or ideas of when you think the next Sony showcase, aka State of Play, could end up being, and what maybe we could see there? I mean, it's not going to be an Xbox showcase. Let's be honest here. But I'll go to you, Tavish. Do you have any predictions on when this could happen?
I suspect they'll announce it on Tuesday, just because it's Memorial Day, and I also think that they'll probably. Let me pull up the calendar real quick so I know what I'm talking about. Let's see. So it looks like on, I believe I want to say Wednesday night, I think, is the PlayStation strategy meeting, the corporate PlayStation strategy division meeting. And last year, whenever they did their strategy meeting, the one that everybody ignored, where they said all their 60% of their budget from now on would be in service games. We see how well that went. But you know, last year it was that meeting was the day before their showcase last year, which was, of course, disastrous and amusing for those of us who like watching grown men dressed up as Solid Snake cry. Anyway, but I would suspect then maybe on Thursday would be a good sort of, if I was going to guess, on the 30th, it would be my guess.
Okay. So. Is there anything that you're interested in seeing? Do you have a PlayStation? I can't remember if I asked you that or not.
I still like watching their stuff. I like watching the shows regardless of what I don't have. But I mean, I'll be curious to see Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, it's been 2.5 years since they've announced an internally developed single player game. The last one is literally the day that I believe, if I'm not wrong, I think it was the day that Halo Infinite came out. That's how long ago it was. It was the last time they even announced one, and that was Wolverine. And that one still seems like it's 2.5 years out itself. So getting something, just at least anything, with even just a year of 2025 or 2026 or whatever it's going to be, I feel like will be good for PlayStation fans. They need something to at least talk about, for Christ's sake.
I need to talk about something.
Yeah,
I just don't know what the hell they're going to talk about or what they're going to show. I don't know. OBM, when do you think the showcase is happening anytime soon? Is there anything that you can think of that they might actually show at the showcase? Where I did hear some rumors about Astrobot getting a full game, and that's kind of been circling the internet right now.
Yeah, that's a rumor that makes a lot of sense, right? And I think the Ghost of Tsushima just announcing it's a good call. Whether they have something ready to really.
OG Newbie says Ben's Studio new IP. I forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up, Ben's Studio. Yeah.
I think it's time for them to give a little bit of a roadmap. Just tell people what's in development. Even if you can't get too far into the gameplay. We know Microsoft did that a few years back, and that's worked for Sony in the past. So I think they just need to let people know, hey, we got some stuff, that's cooking. Obviously, even if it's not going to be ready, that does placate a lot of people. And they also have some of those gas games in development, and so it may be time to hype up the next one of those that's coming, especially after the reception Helldivers has had, aside from the drama. But overall, I think there might be a bit more interest with whatever they're announcing there because of that. And then obviously, they've recently released Ghost of Tsushima on the PC. I think that
which everybody seemed to love. So
yeah, which sets the table, I think, really well for them to come out and announce the next one. But the thing I'm most curious about with Sony right now is the PC thing, because that's the preferred way for me to engage their games, just because I like the Elite controller when it doesn't break. I like to use that. I like to use that when I'm playing third person games where I'm dodging and moving the camera around and things like that. So I'm hoping to hear more about more support when it comes to the PC. I do expect it. Don't know if it's still going to be delayed or more day one, things like that. So that's got me really curious. But overall, yeah, I mean, I am curious because there is, I think there's changes abound over there as well. So look forward to seeing if we hear things coming out of the business conference in regards to those things. But outside of that, I think Ghost of Tsushima is probably, if I had, as somebody who has no insight, I haven't heard anything other than, I think it was, I don't know if it was Grub or somebody mentioned the Astrobot, but outside of that, I haven't really heard anything. So, I think that would be the best guess.
They did tweet. Team Asobi tweeted today, I believe, actually, out of
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Okay. Like a little Astrobot little animation thing. So probably.
I mean, people have been talking about it for years that was going to get, and I honestly, I got to be honest with you. I absolutely love that Astrobot free to play game that was on there. I really did. So I was one of those people that was touting like this should be a fleshed out, like full blown game. And I hope it happens. I think it is happening. Maybe we'll see like Conquer. We got to see one of their PvP games. Like I'm just
Concord's what this year supposedly. So
what are we doing? It's got to be there, right? So
you got to assume that's going to be there. And I'm really curious. I am curious about it because. I know that is the thing that gets the least interest from their core base they built over the decades, but I do feel like there is something refreshing about some new multiplayer experiences. I know, like we think that we're overwhelmed with them because that's all anybody plays and that's all you see on your list, but it is mostly the same old things. It is nice to see that we're taking some big shots and trying to bring some new types of things in there, like the Helldivers, right? Like, because that could spur up, if some of these things hit, maybe that spurs up more people to try out some fresh ideas in that space. So Concord is something that actually does interest me a lot, actually. So I don't know if it's going to be good, but I'm just curious to see them putting big money into new experiences. So
I too like space hamburgers. Yes.
Yeah, the jiggly burger.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea if that's gonna be good or not.
That kills me.
You got me curious, right? Like Helldivers got me curious because it did hit.
Mitt brings up a good point. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 remake.
Silent Hill 2 remake.
Lego Horizon is going to be there shortly, right?
Isn't there like
Sorry, I'm laughing at Farky. Go ahead.
Isn't there a bunch of Horizon games?
There's more Horizon games.
Yeah, there's the Lego.
Fans,
Wasn't there like a Lego one coming out? I don't fucking know. I lost count with what is going on with that shit. VR, Lego, I don't know. Whatever.
I
like that main game too. Like I'm not even trashing on that at all. I just like some of these other things. It's just recycled shit. Like, I don't know. I just don't like that formulaic stuff where you just go off of the success of another game and try to spin it off too much. I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather have new IP myself, but that's just me. I'm sure people like it. I'm just not for me. Yeah, Horizon MMO, Monster Hunter kind of game. Is there a Monster Hunter kind of game coming out for PlayStation?
I think he means Horizon-styled Monster Hunter. Kind of
he's saying. Oh, okay. He's saying that's the one thing.
cool.
Okay, I thought he was saying,
so.
That's cool. I'm down with that. All right, let's move on to the next thing so we can get into the main topic. But this is something I did want to address because I know a lot of people. We're talking about Hellblade here. A lot of people thought that this game was in development for a long time, and it turns out it wasn't in development nearly as long as I think a lot of us assumed it was. Hellblade 2 development began in 2020, not earlier, surprising fans who assumed that it started much longer ago. The game's impressive graphics and the first trailer, well, these guys are saying, were not indicative of its actual development progress. Despite a shorter than expected 4-year development cycle, Hellblade 2 promises impactful improvements in combat and graphics. So it turns out this is like a 4-year development game, which to me makes it a little more impressive, to be perfectly honest with you. So I did want to throw that out there. I wanted to clarify that is how long this has been going on, so people can maybe set their expectations and where they think Hellblade is as a game. I think this is something that should be taken into consideration personally.
Is there more clarification with it? Do they mean full production or do they mean? Because full production is a lot of times studios will do pre-production and then they transition to full production, right? Like after that part. So they must have had some pre-production done in 2019 because they had.
Well, for sure. Yeah, they had to kind of know where they were going story wise. I think we're talking about probably the actual sitting coding side of it. Maybe started. It sounded like it was being pushed in 2020 because all right, let me read this. In a recent interview with Kind of Funny Games, Matthews clarified that while the announcement trailer existed in 2019, the studio hadn't begun full development on Hellblade 2 in 2020. The studio's primary focus remained on completing Bleeding Edge, the multiplayer arena brawler it released in 2020. So after releasing Bleeding Edge, the team did not fully shift its attention to developing Hellblade 2. He says, quote, "It's been 7 years since the last Hellblade game, but we've been working on it, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, for less time than that," remarked Matthews. So, you take that however you want. You know what I mean? Like, of course, definitely pre-production because the thing came out in 2019. Right. That the slice that we got for the animation if I recall, they're, as a studio, they actually have kind of an old school, which is actually kind of not the norm anymore, approach to the way they tend to develop. If I recall, usually they'll do like a vision trailer kind of a thing, like a Target kind of a thing, which we saw in 2019. And then they kind of work from there toward a vertical slice. You guys remember back in the day, you'd see vertical slices at like E3 or whatnot, and those kind of just went away because developers don't focus on that much anymore. But they are one of the few who still, at least for this one, we're still doing it. Like the 2021 TGA gameplay reveal was a vertical slice, and they said that they sort of, once they get to that and get that established and they feel like this is sort of a baseline for quality we want, then they go and they build out the rest of the game. And I know Dave's not through it yet, but I think it's pretty clear, at least to me, that they more than surpassed that 2021 gameplay vertical slice with the end result. So very remarkable achievement for I think it's 80 people, which is about 15 or 80. So more than Hi-Fi Rush was made with. So, I mean, it's pretty remarkable, really. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 80 people isn't your AAA studio anymore.
No, that's a AA game. It's a AA game disguised as a AAA game, essentially.
At a AAA studio.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw someone and I don't love these comparisons, but I saw someone putting up the Spider-Man thing and showing one of the characters, and it said 500 plus developers, 80 developers, and showing Senua, and I was just like, you guys are fucking spicy. Right. Oh, totally. It wasn't a great comparison, but you know how Twitter is.
Because but I mean, doing the same thing with Starfield in the other direction, and it's they're very true. Differently. But and I think. But to Tavish's point, or what you were just saying there, when the demo they showed in 2019, or the trailer, that wasn't a game. I think they officially said that wasn't a game.
That would be the
simply
vertical. That would be what I considered a vertical slice, what we would call vertical slice back in the day. Even though, I mean, because technically that part is playable, and is
I
in
don't
the
think
game.
At that time, at that time,
You know what I mean?
they did say that, and it was another interview, and I can't remember. This came up yesterday when I was with Everborn and Kesande. We were talking about it, but that when the developer said that there was no gameplay or game anything, like that wasn't a real part of any game. That was strictly a trailer. And then you got to remember that during the pandemic,
but it's in the game though. I mean, almost to a T. It's almost identical. You know, what I mean, that's why
you might be
they
thinking
brought the vision to life.
2021. The gameplay segment where they go in the cave with the trolls in the game, but the other
yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry.
That was 2021. Yeah.
That
was their vertical slice, but their vision statement, sort of, so to speak, was the 2019, and that stuff. Yeah, I won't say whether or not that's in the game or not, but
no. You have to play it to find out.
Right.
Let's get into that anyways. Let's get into our thoughts about Hellblade in general. I know there's a lot of controversy going on around the scoring. We don't have to agree if there's an Xbox tax or not. I believe it. A lot of my Xbox brethren do not believe it. That's fine. But my issues is I'm just seeing the disparity between some of these scores where you have one that's being called, like first one being called like a masterpiece. And then in my opinion, and maybe you disagree with this, guys, I feel like they improved on every aspect of the original game. And then then you got a score that's can be 30 to 40 points lower on the second one. So I don't know. But anyways, what would you think of, has everyone finished? I know Dave hasn't finished the game. Have you guys finished the game?
Yes,
yep.
We both have.
Okay. All right. So everyone's finished it. Obviously we'll go spoiler free, but I do want to kind of get pluses, minuses, anything that you guys think about the game in general, how much you liked it, how does it compare to the original? If you played the original to you, what do you think about Hellblade 2 as a $50 package or Game Pass package, I should say too? I'll go to you, OBM. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So first, full transparency. These when it comes to the walking sim, the puzzle games, the Telltale games, like stuff that is really, really story driven in video games, I generally don't engage a lot with those type of genres. I did play Hellblade 1 and beat it a few years back. What stood out to me at the time was the music and the sound. I thought that actually when it came to the music, that was one of the best. In terms of music within a game, that was one of the best that I ever heard. So that was the thing that lasted with me. However, I will say that multiple times during my playthrough back then, I lost patience with the puzzles.
That's me, brother. It was the puzzles that killed the first one for me. That was my only issue.
Yeah, and I know it was part of the vision, but even the world being as empty as it was, I kind of wasn't as engaged, right? But I came into this one with a little bit of I tried to have a bit of a more of an open mind, or not open mind, but I would say that I approached it a little bit differently in terms of how I was going to play this game, because generally, like when I play games, I'm there to play games. I'm not there to watch movies, but I approached it like I was going to watch a movie with some gameplay involved. And that's really how I approached it. And I think it was easier to do that knowing that it was only going to be 6, 7, maybe 8 hours experience kind of thing. So you could approach it like you're watching a Netflix series or something. I left the game, and the thing that's been interesting with Hellblade, it's really hard to articulate. Like, it felt like I watched a show, but it used gameplay or video game aspects that you wouldn't be able to do in a TV show or movie to increase the immersion and the overall engagement. And I think what was really interesting about it was the fact that even after I had finished it, like when I finished like I wanted to talk about it, and I think that's always that's always a sign to me. You know, like when I watch a show or a movie, like if I can't wait to now go see the spoiler or listen to people do a spoiler cast and you know pull up some YouTube
that water cooler moment essentially.
Yeah, you know when you start doing that stuff and you want to and you're in like there's scenes that leave you that you remember very distinctly, like specific moments in the game that
like when she burns the bodies. Yeah, I love that part. Yeah.
right. Oh man. But so I'm jumping around. I'm jumping around here, but I'll just say that as an experience, and maybe that's the best way to describe it. As an experience, this is one that did capture me, and you know the way they blended the visuals, the music and the sound to kind of immerse you into the experience felt like a one of a kind, like not just a one of a kind for gaming, but for like really for anything. Like you don't get the same experience in the TV shows, and you don't get the same experience in gaming. They sort of were able to meld, you know, cinema and with game design or gameplay variables that really created a very unique experience. And I like the thing that stands out to me a lot with it was it's like the little details of how things kind of mesh together, because they're telling a story, but they don't just tell a story by telling you a story. They use like music in unique ways. They use sound in unique ways to like deliver the storytelling, and just like the way like certain music kicks in certain moments.
Yes,
like the way kind of like it, like that's the
first giant, the first giant fight. The way they did the music with your traversal and what you had to do to me is the most impactful moment in this game for music. If you remember that part where it's just where it actually worked, like where the actual like you could die works in sync with the music, I think is something that a lot of people just it's one of those things that goes under the radar that I think was just beautifully done. I was like, you actually like got to almost move to the beat. You know what I mean? You know when the fire is coming, essentially. But go ahead, OBM. But I just wanted to like reiterate what you were saying.
Yeah, and so like the last few things I'll mention about it, the combat was actually more fun to me than the one in the combat in the first Hellblade. I don't remember all the moves I did in the first Hellblade, but I don't ever feel like I was that engaged. And I do like games with a lot of depth of combat. I am a Souls masochist. I do play Devil May Cry 5. I kept turning up the difficulty and kept replaying it. You know, I like that stuff, but this was a different sort of combat experience. It wasn't, I don't think, meant for like in a
dopamine.
Vacuum. Yeah, like in a vacuum, it doesn't really compare to those types of things. But again, the way it just merged with the cinematography and the tension and the fact that I kept feeling like I was going to lose, and you pull through, and you feel like you're going to lose, and you pull through. And even and maybe I was more, maybe I was playing, maybe my approach to the combat was a bit conservative, or I don't know why I didn't find myself just clicking on the light attack the whole game the way I saw some reviews say they did, and maybe that could have got me through there. I was always kind of doing the counter moves, right? Like waiting for the dodge and waiting for the parry and like the dance between those types of things. And I felt that it was a lot of fun when I was doing it that way. And maybe all I needed to do is just tap on the light attack the whole game, because that's what the reviews said that I should have been doing, I guess. But I don't know. I didn't experience it that way. The weak part of it was puzzles, but again, I'm not a puzzle person, so the fact they were easy was a good.
I am so with you on this. That was my one crux from the first one. I was like, man, I hope they pulled it back a little bit on the and it's funny because a lot of people bitch about like God of War and like the ridiculously easy puzzles, and I'm sitting over here going, thank you for making it easier. I don't want to do that stuff. Is just
The puzzles felt like time wasters, and that's probably the weakness of the game. But at the same time, I don't really enjoy 3D puzzles in general. That's just me going forward. So the fact they're easier was a positive. Although I do understand anybody that says that they are not engaging, or like there's some validity there. And final thing is I can understand this is definitely not an experience for everybody. If you're going in for a video ass game, a gamey ass game, this is not that, right? You have to go into this kind of knowing what it's attempting to do and approaching it like it is an immersive experience, immersive narrative experience. And if you do, and you approach it that way, the story may hit you, and it did hit me. I did find myself like thinking about like the metaphors they're trying to deliver in the game, and what did that mean, and like again, it was really interesting going back and seeing what other people were saying, and you do realize that it does all make sense actually when you start to like untangle what they were trying to like represent with a lot of this stuff. So brilliant job. Again, not normally a thing that I would be into, but it was lasting, and the fact that it's not my thing and it was a lasting, memorable experience to me says that this was something that should be celebrated. Ninja Theory definitely deserves their flowers. I do understand though, for anybody that if you didn't really care for the first one either, or you're just not in these games and you played this and this didn't feel like this felt like a 4 or 5, whatever. I can see that. Like I can see that if you're going into this expecting a certain experience, if you're expecting God of War, if you're expecting Devil May Cry,
well, that's a problem if you played the first one though. See that, and that's where I take issue with some of these reviewers. Like I don't take any issue with someone if you did not like the first one. I expect you not to like the second one at all. But if you love the first one and all of a sudden you're bashing the second one, which in my opinion improves on almost everything across the board, I have got to question what you expected. If you expected God of War, you should not be reviewing games, in my opinion. You're going into this with the wrong mindset, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Like again, reviews are just opinions. I just didn't like, and it's not. Look, this is sitting at an 81, 82, whatever it's sitting at right now on Metacritic, which is just fine. Which is a great score. There's nothing. Almost all my favorite games in the last 5 years have all been sitting in the 80s, anyways. But I feel like there was some disingenuous takes. We called it out on our Aim Down Sight podcast. We called exactly who was going to shit on it, including the people in this group. We called because they just keep doing it. It's rinse and repeat. We knew PC Gamer. We knew Metro. We knew Metro was going to shit on it because that's what they do. Because they do it for the clicks, and it gets annoying to me. Where I wish someone like Metacritic would say would step up and just go, you know what, we can't have you guys a part of this if you're going to treat your video game score like it's a joke. That is definitely you on the screen. Yes, Parris, 100%. Why don't you play that, because I really like what Snowbike Mike says here, and that we got to take out the whole Microsoft and Xbox part of the conversation when we're talking about reviewing and talking about a game in itself. The game needs to be self-contained in its own little bubble, and forget about what's going on out in the rest of the world. When those outside influences start to infect your score or your talking of the game, that's a problem, guys. Like I really do think that's a problem. Go ahead, Dave, if you want to play that.
Shout out, and I will play it. Shout out to PARRIS, who's in our chat, and I tell you, PARRIS and Snowbike Mike both stood their ground. I mean, obviously they listen, that they're open-minded, but it's nice to know that they actually can anchor the show back into reality and a lot of things. To be honest, So, and what PARRIS says, one more comment before I play the clip there. Read it real quick, then we'll play it. Read his comment if you don't mind.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to. PARRIS says, to be clear, this conversation happened after we reviewed Hellblade 2. Yes.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, cool. So here we go. And like I said, both PARRIS and and Mike did a great job. So
what they are and making them do it and eliminating people.
To me, it seems like they haven't crunched on anyone. They've given everyone the freedom to make whatever they want.
I'm sorry. I combine 2 points there. I combine 2 points there. I'm saying that my point is I'm worried that the fact that the games haven't produced the way they haven't been hit makers, that then Microsoft gets involved and fucks up Xbox's vision.
It's an interesting place of we're ending this review. We're on this review to talk about this game, and now we're talking about Xbox in the big picture. It's always funny we get back to this, right? Of like the mixed feelings of Xbox. It's wild that we're here again. But I mean, you bought an art house studio, as Blessing said, to make art. They've done that. You've elevated their tech within the mocap studio, the audio range, to provide them probably a whole lot of money to buy all this stuff and given them the power to do this, right? Should we not be celebrating what they just made, right? Now the issue is, well, it's not a hit. It's not good enough. Well, now we're just getting in the shareholder territory of like, well, then you should be making Fortnites. You should be making Call of Duties. And Phil and the team have fought hard not to do that. But there will be a moment, if that's what we want, they're going to turn and do that, because I could easily look at this team and say, make me Uncharted, figure it out. And they'll do that, right? Hey, Machine Games, make me more Wolfensteins and Dooms. Do it. You know, like eventually there will be a moment where if that's what you want, that's what's going to happen here. But they've fought so hard to keep all these so far. I mean, we should be celebrating that in my mind. Unless you want Fortnites, and they haven't made Fortnite yet.
You look at me like I want it. No. I'm looking at you, and I'm saying, yeah, they fought this hard to get there. Where's the fucking win? That's what. I just mean, and I'm not even.
It is a total win. Sorry, dude.
Out of fear for them. I like the vision Phil and team have talked about for so long. I love Xbox being everywhere.
And this isn't a win, though. Huh? This isn't a win. A stunning visual, incredible game that pushes the medium forward. That's not a win.
Big win.
Like, I guess the flip side of this is like, why aren't we celebrating this as a win? You bought Ninja Theory to make another Hellblade. You gave them all the money. They produced something incredible in front of all of our eyes. Maybe it didn't hit on the combat and gameplay side, but they pushed this forward. That's what you wanted, right?
Yeah,
that's
Greg,
a win.
Answer it.
No,
I think it's so simple. No, I mean, yeah, they pushed like 2 out of 4 aspects forward.
I get that, but
that's
like,
a 50% win ratio. That sucks.
We have to say to ourselves right now,
did the Order 1886 push Sony to a
there you go. So there,
I don't wanted that to air to crap on Greg and everybody else. I just think Mike brings up like great points where I think like what I really liked what he said is that we got to take out the outside sources. You just talk about the game as a game without Xbox and Microsoft interfering or being a factor, right? Let's talk about Ninja Theory. Forget about Xbox, forget about Microsoft, forget about all the outside sources, and let's talk about the game that Ninja Theory made. And they're more than entitled to their opinion. Like he said, they only improved 2 out of the 4 aspects, which I think is very funny because I completely disagree with that. So if you didn't like Hellblade 2 and you really believe that, then I could see that you would score it lower. But in my opinion, it improved on every aspect, including puzzles, which for me was easier. So it was all gravy for me. But I just wanted to play that just to get some context out there. I thought Mike brought up some great points. Go ahead, Obi.
Yeah, I was just going to say one thing. One thing I do want to give some credit to, because I think it kind of gets overlooked. I appreciate the fact they actually had that conversation because nobody else.
Yes, very true.
And I I do like those guys. And that includes Greg, and I like all because I like the fact that they actually like the problem is like that conversation usually takes place on separate podcasts, right? One tribe says one thing, one tribe, and it never really goes anywhere. So kudos to that group for I think being able to kind of bring in both really perspectives to that and really kind of bring that together, because I do think it needs to be highlighted a bit. And this is really my only issue with like when we start talking about the reviews and stuff. I don't like the score's fine. 80, 81, 82 is
it's a good score.
Some of the best, what is it? Ghost of Tsushima we were just talking about. One of the most well-regarded games of last generation for that platform is was in the same range. So there's not an issue. Like I can see across the board how people can be, I can justify 10, I can justify 6 depending on what I'm going in looking for. But the thing that's been, I think, a disservice is the fact that we continue to have this conversation over and over whenever a game is releasing, and it's really like on between both of these platforms, but specifically on the Xbox side more recently, since they've been buying the studios, is that we really continue to have this meta narrative, and every game needs to save the platform, right? Like it's like you got
thank you.
It's
OBM.
like the house is burning. The house is burning down, and now you're going to put out the fire, right? And it's a disservice to Ninja Theory. It's a disservice to BGS, who made Starfield. Like why did they're coming out with a new IP, and why does this need to suddenly make up for the fact that it's been a decade since they had a giant hit? That's not on them. That's
right.
That's another.
I mean, people talked about it like it had to make up for Redfall, and it's like that's a whole ass other team. What nothing to do with Redfall. What are we even talking about?
And why can't we have these? I mean, let's be honest. This was clearly it's a smaller budget game. It's an 80-person team. It was made in like 4.25 years, so we know it automatically costs less money. Let's take the fact that they got a brand new studio and all that stuff out of the equation, right? But I think it's okay to have these smaller experiences, and just like we got. Hi-Fi Rush was a great example, but I think like Greg was bringing it up. Like, I'm worried that they will become the next, Hi-Fi Rush and be out the door. Maybe that's kind of what his thinking was. Is if not everything's a banger, then are these studios at jeopardy too? Which I'm not mad at anyone for thinking that. Look, I'm not.
Right.
Like I definitely did not think Tango was going anywhere. I would have lost that bet.
To kind of like build off what you're saying though too, this is when we talked about the vision for game, and the reason why we were so pissed, the reason I was so pissed about the whole Tango closing and still a little bit,
that hurt.
The reason why a lot of people were really angry about that was because that was the dream, right? Like we're going to allow these studios to
keeping the weirdness.
and the whole discussion from Phil Spencer about we need to have innovation, we need to have different things, we need to take chances, and and then you go ahead and close them after they hit it out of the park, at least critically. I know commercially they didn't, but that's a different thing. This is another example. Here's another example of a studio being their best versions of themselves. Right. And creating something that that's going to now get exposure, whether it's successful or not. I don't know, like from their metrics, it's going to get an exposure that a game like this generally wouldn't. Most people are not going to be willing to take a chance to spend $50 on something like this when they got a digital backlog that goes back over 10 years, and they got Black Hole Games calling them because they got to go get some new underwear for their Fortnite character. Like that.
Don't you trash my Fortnite? I love that game.
But this was the vision that we were hoping for, right? And so I would like to start to. I'm happy that this has finally hit a mainstream conversation because it is something going forward. We're going to see this again and again. We're going to see Avowed's going to come out. 6 months or whatever from now, and I'm sure it's going to be held up to Elder Scrolls or held up to previous things they did, and asking, why aren't you CDPR yet? Like stuff like that. And and we got to step back and understand that when these studios were bought, there was this idea that we're going to have this variety and diversity and take some chances and things like that, and that not all these are meant to be that stuff. I get what Greg's saying, like the fact the Halos, the Gears, the Forzas, finding a few more of those to kind of raise the overall platform, like to raise the tide.
I mean, how many do they need? Right. I mean, they've got so damn many, frankly. I mean,
they may have that stuff coming down the road.
I just don't think that belongs in the that's a whole separate discussion about the business dynamics. And nobody should ever has to ask shareholder permission to praise a game. Nobody did that for Eco or Shadow of the Colossus or Alan Wake 2.
Good point,
Journey. Like nobody said we have to wait and to see whether it moves some imaginary stupid needle for this $3 trillion company to be okay with its performance. Let them handle that. We can think about it. We can talk about that stuff in a different context and sort of speculate and whatnot for sure. But for a review, you shouldn't be letting that like RHETRI said, infect or sort of poison some of the discussion. And it's the background context of this. If I'm, I'm not saying this with regard to Greg necessarily, but other people who reviewed it might well have come at it from the perspective of it's got to impress me so much that it makes me want to really buy into the entire vision, some grand illusory vision of what the brand needs to be about. And it's like no individual game should ever have that much writing on it. And it does feel like every single
just GTA, that's
game, right? Well, it does feel like
GTA needs to save the whole console industry.
Yeah, they have the entirety of the console market.
Really
all right. Well, I just want to welcome PARRIS LILLY, who wanted to come on and state his case, as it were, and to clear things up. Look, PARRIS is always welcome here, and PARRIS, welcome, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me to come on. And it's so funny the chat. It's like I'm just looking at the comments in the chat as I was listening to you guys, and then even this one, it was like, look, most of us feel the same way. It's not about what Mike said was spot on, and obviously I agreed with Mike. The only reason I'm coming up now is what I personally don't like is that clip went around, and what you see is people are judging the clip, and I'm seeing it. And look, Greg and Blessing do not need me to defend them. But what people need to understand is, sure, they obviously were on a PlayStation specific podcast and all that, but people immediately rushing to judgment. Well, they hate the game and they don't like the game because it's Xbox. It's not true. It's just simply not true. And, I've worked with them long enough to know them and to know how they think. And I personally do not like this narrative that's going around about that, because the whole reason Kind of Funny changed the format was exactly the conversation that we had for an hour plus the other day about Hellblade 2 is you want differing opinions. You don't want an echo chamber. You want to hear people that are going to be critical about the game, that are going to look at it from a different point of view. And just like I said in the chat, I'll say here now, that conversation happened after we had completely finished talking about the game itself. And it kind of had shifted into talking about Xbox as a whole. So it wasn't, oh, well, we're judging the game on the business of Xbox. That never came up in the conversation when we're reviewing the game. It was about Hellblade 2, what we liked, what we didn't like, etc. Blessing and Greg are more than welcome to have their opinion. We obviously had ours. Mike and I scored it. Mike was higher than I was. Mike said 9. I said it was an 8. I enjoyed my time. I recommend it to anyone. Blessing. And then I knew Greg was going to be less on it because Greg and I had just re-reviewed Senua's Sacrifice. So I knew he thought less of it than I did. So I knew this being not more of the same, but you get my point. This
no, I mean, that's exactly what I was
reinvent.
saying earlier.
Yeah.
Like someone who probably didn't, I said anyone who didn't enjoy Hellblade 1 is probably not going to like Hellblade 2 because it's more of that, just better in my opinion. So, yeah.
And I think the point that resonated most with me from what Mike had said was actually not even as much about the quality of the game and all that, more so just about this idea that, them doing exactly what an art house studio should be doing and reaching those heights that they particularly were reaching for in that particular project somehow just isn't good enough, doesn't count for XYZ reasons that we make up ad hoc on the spot for Xbox, but no one ever talks about that kind of context with any other platform ever or any other games. And I think it's a frustrating thing to sort of see that kind of context always inserted so much, not necessarily inserted even just into an individual review, but just there's this cloud that, like, no matter what the discussion is, if there's any high point for Xbox, we have to find some way to attach it to some sort of negativity or some sort of doubt or some sort of uncertainty or whatever. No, it can't be a win, God forbid, like as if it's going to hurt us if we agree that maybe they actually did something good for once.
You're the unicorn, Letha Papa. You're the unicorn, buddy.
And I don't even think that necessarily only comes from like people that are not fans of the platform. I even think fans of the platform like view these games like it's got to save it, right? Like, and I think that's they're like even some of the biggest super fans that are Xbox super fans that you think that's all they play kind of come into these games like, man, this was supposed to be a bigger W than this, we needed.
But see, this is the whole point. This is again, and I'm just going to say it. A couple people in your chat are being freaking awful right now. It's just ridiculous. Like, you want to have a reasonable adult conversation about these things, and then you just see the stupid comments in here. So why I'm typically very hesitant about coming on shows for that very reason. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is that conversation, if you listen to the entire episode, you will understand that we talked about the game. Then we transitioned it into the business of Xbox. And to the point, like someone even brought up in the chat, well, the game was never meant to save Xbox. And that was kind of Mike's point. It's like, let's celebrate what the game is doing right. Why does everything have to be about what the game is doing wrong? You know what I mean? The game, Ninja Theory, an 80-person studio. We literally interviewed Dom the week before, talking about the game. Yeah. And they were a AA studio when they were acquired. And what, like Mike pointed out, being acquired by Microsoft, very similar to Double Fine, by the way, allowed them to get the resources and the time to reach their creative vision for their game. Because don't forget, Psychonauts 2 would have been half the game it was if they remained independent in a Kickstarter. So it's like, let's talk about that stuff. The only reason Greg was even bringing that up, and again, I'm not trying to defend Greg, but I'm just giving context to the entire conversation, is what just happened. You closed Tango, you closed, Alpha Dog, you closed Arcane, you closed Roundhouse. These studios just closed. So it was relevant at the time to go, well, damn, is this going to suffer a similar fate if it doesn't reach some certain metric that Microsoft has for it? That was his concern by it. It wasn't that it had to be a 4 out of 4 checking off the boxes or whatever, being this major hit. The game is what it is. And it's like I said in that episode, I am glad that Hellblade 2 exists. It pushed visuals. There is now a gold standard now for Unreal 5 games on console because of this.
For all
the audio, what they're doing on the audio. Because to me, this is an immersive audio experience that is enhanced by visuals. That's the way I look at it, right? So look at what they're doing on the audio side. Look at what they're doing on the visual side. Okay, the combat, not everyone's cup of tea. The puzzles, too simple. Those were my critiques, but I still said this is something that you should go play. You will enjoy this experience. The voice actors always screw her name up. It's not Melina. However you say
I
it.
do too.
Melina, I think.
Melina, thank you.
Yep.
Performance of the year. Yeah. If she doesn't win, it's rigged. That's the way I look at it. Right?
That's real, folks.
It's rigged. You heard it, right? Yeah, she definitely. I'm with you on that.
Okay, I know I shouldn't be harping on the chat. This again, nobody would have brought these points up if it weren't for being on the show. But the point of it is, we talked about the game itself. So the points were made about the game, the business of Xbox. And I don't want to curse, but we've been talking about this nonsense for weeks now. So if anything, we were kind of just repeating stuff that we had already been talking about. We literally had a dedicated Gamecast episode where we talked for an hour about the business of Xbox. Honestly, me personally, I'm tired of talking about it. I'd rather focus on the games themselves. I hope they get to the showcase. They show us a bunch of cool stuff. I already know Ryan will be asking Phil these questions on IGN Live, and I hope they have definitive answers coming out of that so people can stop stressing over, is it coming to PlayStation 5? Is this happening? Does that happen? Xbox is doomed. It's like, well, it gets to the point of, we don't talk about the games themselves, which is what it should be about. We talk about the business stuff, which guess what? We have no control over. Zero.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So I get people saw the clip with Greg and Mike. And yes, Mike, I obviously 100% agree with Mike, but I understood where Greg was coming from in the full context of what we were talking about.
I do too, Parris. And I don't want to make it sound like I was attacking Greg, because my only what I liked, I was trying to highlight what Mike was saying and how much I agreed with the context and what Mike was saying. But I also
honestly,
where Greg is coming from. I also honestly I agree with Greg too, to a point where it's like, dude, what happened with Tango. I didn't see that coming. Like I would have lost all my money. I would have bet so hard against that. I was like, no way they would get rid of their only Japanese studio. There's no way. So I get where he's coming from, and being worried that, I mean, this is like an art house studio. It's 80 developers. It's a small studio. You know, different acquisitions. These guys were acquired specifically versus Tango getting gobbled up with the rest of the studios that they got gobbled up with. So it is a little bit different. But you know, I think there is definitely a point here to be made by Greg. So yeah.
I mean, look, let's keep it real again. It sucks that Tango and Arcane, more specifically Tango, but you get my point, that these studios close and they consolidated and they're going to focus on other things within Bethesda. I get it. It sucks. I think that their feet should be held to the fire on all of that. The Tango one especially makes zero sense to me, and it probably never will. But it's a business at the end of the day, whether we like it or not. And again, when it comes to Ninja Theory, it seems, you know, you go by rumor, speculation, all that. Their next project has been greenlit, so they're not going to go anywhere. They're going to continue to make games. Like Mike said, and like I said on that episode, they got to make the game they wanted to make.
Yep.
And we should applaud that they made what they wanted to make. They weren't, to Mike's point, they weren't being forced into make the next God of War, Uncharted, which is outside of their comfort zone. They made what they wanted to make. They continue Senua's story. I'm very happy for that. And I'm glad that game exists. And they did push things forward on a visual side with Unreal 5. Like I said before, we now have a template for what an Unreal 5 game should look like. So Coalition, you're on notice. That's the way I look at it. Right. Yeah. So
that's what we talked about last night. Like, Coalition, show us what you can do, buddy.
And allegedly, and I don't know this to be true, I'm only going by internet talk, but allegedly Avowed is on Unreal 5 now.
Yeah. 5.3 according to Chase.
Yeah. So we'll see. Supposedly that's had a visual upgrade coming into the showcase. So I'm very interested to see that as well. So it's like I personally would rather get back to talking about that stuff. And again, I'm going to defend my teammates, my comrades for a second. The other reason I came up here, and you were doing it on here, but like Blessing has caught so much crap over this review of Hellblade 2 because he pointed out valid criticisms and didn't quote unquote score it high enough, and he's catching a bunch of crap over this too. You want differing opinions, like I said at the top. Who the frick wants an echo chamber where everything is just the greatest? Everything's a 10 out of 10, because that game is not a 10 out of 10. I recommend it to anybody, but it ain't a 10. It has issues, and they're fair to be able to say that. And it's like, and I'm bringing that up to defend him because I catch it on the other side. God forbid I say anything about a PlayStation game. You think the world's about to end. You're not allowed to say this because it's PlayStation. And it's like, dude, can we please just get back to talking about games? Should not matter what platform it's on. If you love Xbox games, you love them. If you love PlayStation, you love them. It shouldn't matter. Just like I said, put Final Fantasy VII on ColecoVision. Let's talk about that too. Let's bring that back. You know what I'm saying? It's like we waste so much time. And clearly, I stalk your show all the time. I listen to the conversations and stuff.
We greatly appreciate that too.
But this isn't targeted specifically at you. This is just in general. We waste so much time. I am going to curse now, if you don't mind, about talking about bullshit. A bunch of bullshit. It's bullshit. That's all. All it really is. It's your money. Play where you want. Love what you want. I could give two shits what someone doesn't like if I like it. Like I think this is why, like on my personal reviews, like I reviewed Hellblade 2 on my personal channel, right? Didn't put a score on it. I don't like putting scores on things. I said I recommend it.
For that, by the way.
Just go play it. Thing. We're doing reviews, and we decided to stay out of the score business.
Because like I'm a Destiny guy, right? Destiny is the greatest 6.5 game of all time. In my opinion, because I don't care. I don't
Parris,
care.
You used to say it was the best 7 out of 10. That's how long I remember. I listened way back just in the day.
Like even like more recently now with Starfield. I know Starfield is very polarizing for people as well. I freaking love that game. 100%. I love it. These updates they did honestly probably got it to where it should have been at launch. But I'm absolutely looking forward to Shattered Space, which again, people giving Greg crap. Greg's probably a bigger fan than I am.
Yeah.
That was his personal game of the year. But and that's the whole point. We everything's subjective. We all have our preferences of what we like and we don't like. And my only thing is We got to stop this thing where we have to go after someone because their opinion isn't the same as mine. I think it's stupid. I really do.
Yeah.
Agreed. Look, I just want to call the conversation, but I just want to say, look, Parris, thank you so much for jumping on and you always have the open platform to speak your mind here. You know that, and I think it's why why you wanted to jump on. And it's the one thing since we got you here, because I know there's things you can or can't talk about, because things that people are supposed to.
Hey, I know nothing. I'll tell you that right now. I don't believe you. Nothing this year, and
that says I don't believe you.
And I'm happy. No, I'm serious. This is the first time in like 3 years I know absolutely nothing, and it's great.
Okay. Let me just ask you this. So, what are you?
One guy who shows up.
Parris? What are you looking forward to the most at the show coming up? Is there anything that's just like that you're anticipating or expect, or and then this is not an insider stuff. This is just your personal. Dude, I hope they do this for the show.
I am looking forward to Perfect Dark. Okay. That is the game that I want to see through the quadruple A studio, just everything that's gone through. Obviously, more recently, Grubb said one thing, then he took it back, and you're hearing other people saying it's going to shape. Last year, Matt Booty at the Giant Bomb Couch did say they could have shown Perfect Dark last year. I remember that.
Right.
Yep. So, show it literally opened the show with it. Why not? Let's just get it out of the way. Show me that. I want to see Perfect Dark. That would probably be my number one thing I would want to see coming from Xbox. I would say outside of Xbox, I want to see Judas from Ken Levine. I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
I want, and I'm praying that we get a release date in 2024 for Replaced, as well as the Plucky Squire. Those are kind of my.
Say it was coming later this year.
But
they've said that like 3 or 4
for
times.
Replaced or the Lucky Squire. Which one?
Replaced. Sorry.
Yeah, for Replaced.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Good. So those probably off the top of my head would be my biggest ones. I mean, we obviously know there's been looking at may or may not have been involved in this too. Some chatter about Gears of War. So I would imagine we hear something about that. I do want to see Avowed again. I'm sure we'll see Indy again. There's I have a bonus one. Okay. Something Fallout. Not 76, not an expansion, none of that, but something Fallout. Even if it's not coming for a couple of years, just let us know that you are working on it. Yes. Beyond, and when I say that, I'm not even forget the Fallout 3 remake and those rumors. I want to hear a brand new Fallout game is coming.
Okay, gotcha. All right,
nice. That would be fantastic, and I'm right there with you on that for sure. Yeah. And the last thing else, because you've trolled us and you've trolled a lot of different shows. So Final Fantasy VII remake. Do you think that it's coming at all someday? Just in general.
No, I heard you say that earlier. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, because people obviously, and I just made it a joke, gave me a lot of crap with what I said, some months back. But what I even said at the time is that contract is ironclad. I'm sure whatever they agreed to is, and it sounds like we're not going to see anything Final Fantasy VII related on Xbox until probably all 3 are out.
Wow.
So I wouldn't expect anything.
16 though, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm speaking more specifically 7, but there could be other
I agree
finals.
with Parris.
Yeah,
I think
I do want to say one other thing to the chat, and I'm going to put myself in this because they were talking about Greg and you got to be open to criticism and all that. Yeah, absolutely. I also I'm very open to criticism. I say dumb stuff all the time. And I appreciate when I am corrected on that. I appreciate when people respectfully disagree with me and we can have that conversation. My thing that I was saying to the chat earlier, and I will say again, when you are being disrespectful with your critiques, that's when the person that you're being critical of mentally checks out to anything that you say. Yep. Just letting you know. Because when I see that, I'm like, well, no point in me listening to him because you're coming at me in a disrespectful way. So same applies to anybody else when it goes to that. If you want your voice to be heard, if you want your criticism to be heard, just be respectful. I mean, talking crazy in the chat does nothing. If you truly want the person that you're trying to critique, come at them in a respectful way or on social media or on their channel or whatever. they're probably going to see it and they might respond. But when you say, well, you suck and you're this and you're that, no one's listening to that. Just letting you know. Been around a long time.
That's true.
Just letting you know that's how it works.
Isn't it ironic that people bitching and moaning and complaining about reviewers in that kind of way? They're like, oh, you suck at criticizing this game. And it's like, yeah, but you suck at criticizing the way that you're criticizing them is also
exactly.
just as stupid.
You're not even good at criticizing.
So, you know.
So we got a super chat.
Yeah, I get you. Sir X-Man with the $2 says, yes, thank you, Sir X-Man. I'm right there with you, brother. I still want Mech Assault and PTR 5. That's my one.
PTR is still my favorite.
Mech Assault, baby. Oh, God. Yeah. Good ones. Sir X-Man always has these like good old school games that need to be revived, man. Appreciate
What about
you.
Splinter Cell? What do you guys think? Odds of seeing
A lot of people are talking Splinter. Well, they talk it every year, but a lot of people are saying maybe this is this year.
Kind of announced it a little bit, you know. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
They announced it via tweet. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen for an announcement of a game like that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I hope so, man. I hope so. Yeah.
Parris, you're more than welcome to stay, but if you need to leave, that's cool too.
I could probably stay a couple more minutes. I will fully admit, and I do apologize. I've definitely been very ornery in the last couple weeks. So you know, that's why I've been, you know, like commenting in the chat and saying stuff, because it's goes back to what I was saying before, where I just feel like emotions across the board are just at frickin' 100, you know, where any opinion is people, there's just a lot of passionate people out there. Let me put it that way, you know, on both sides of the fence, because the gaming industry is literally changing before our eyes. And I think when change happens, people are going to resist it. Yeah, it's always scary
to them.
And you know, some people try to be a voice of reason, and ain't nobody trying to hear that right now. And I think that's what caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, Richard, read this one comment, and then we'll just leave this part in the dust. But I think it's good the way he ends it.
Sure. Animatic says, at Parris, I completely disagree with you on IGN being biased, but I believe everyone is entitled to their opinion. But
I'm confused.
I respect both
When
you
did
and
I say
I'm
that?
confused too. Thank you. I was like, what? When did that happen? I think he's being facetious. I don't know.
But the last part, though, I do respect both you and Travis.
Travis.
So that's the part that's
I'm completely confused. And yeah, Travis is really cool. What did I say? I don't know what I said.
I don't know.
I missed that one too. So
it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, Retro, let's get to our last topic of the night, because it is coming up on the top of the hour, and we gotta wrap this puppy up.
I mean, did you want to talk about Doom, or did you want to talk more about the showcase? Because I know you kind of brought up Jez's showcase predictions or whatever. If you guys want to,
we can dig into that more next week if you want to. Go ahead.
Can I, since I'm here, and I'll bow out after this subject, and I'll let you guys wrap up the show. So I do have another showcase prediction.
Okay.
Again, this is me just prediction. I know nothing. I want to be clear. I know absolutely nothing.
So it becomes true.
Ready.
I think they announced the handheld.
Oh my God,
dude! I hope so.
Not that it's
totally wrong, but I hope I'm wrong. Oh my God!
Not that I'm not saying that we get it this year, but I think they acknowledge it. They acknowledge its existence, and I think, remember what Project Scorpio, which became the 1X. Yep. Remember, they teased that a year ahead of time, really a year and a half ahead of time. So I think it could be a similar thing. I do.
But don't we think it's going to align with the next generation because of the whole Qualcomm chip?
I'm glad you brought that up too. Mm-hmm. After that Surface event, I'm pretty sure that's the handheld. That's the handheld. That's what they're going to do. I was always convinced that they would wait until next gen, which I know a lot of people are thinking, myself included, will be holiday 2026. But maybe if they can quote unquote, get a handheld out now on that ARM chip in this current gen and have it out. I'm not saying it's this year. Maybe it is 2025. I don't know. But maybe they just pull the trigger and do it. Because if they have their own handheld curated with whatever, obviously it's going to be Windows or whatever they do, but it replicates the console experience on that handheld. That thing's going to sell like hotcakes, man.
I think
Now,
so.
I personally think they want to stay far away from when the new Switch comes out, but I could see it. I could definitely see them dropping a handheld within the next 18 months if it's on that ARM chip.
There is something interesting that you say that, because if you remember Sarah Bond at the February or whatever it was update, she mentioned something along the lines of you will be hearing from us about more hardware plans in the fall.
Yeah.
And I think most of us assumed at the time, because that was also around the time that white Xbox was floating around. Most of us thought, exactly, well, that must be what that is. But then I think Xbooter or whatever it was, the people who leaked the images of the white Xbox, they had said, well, we had heard that this is actually coming this summer, the white Xbox, which then makes you think, well, if that's coming in summer, what the hell was she talking about for fall? Like, is that something?
That maybe it is. It could be. It could be. Like, this is why I can't wait, because we're 2 weeks away. I can't wait for that, because I think with all the bad news that they've had, or the news that has upset the community over the past few months, this is their opportunity to control that narrative and to get a positive message out and to get something that people are going to be excited about, that people actually want to get their hands on. Because let's be honest again about another thing. It doesn't matter what game they show. I don't care what it looks like. It could be the next coming to Jesus. What is the conversation going to be? When is it coming to PlayStation?
Yeah.
And that's their fault. That's on them.
Yeah.
So
I know
they got to have something that ain't coming to PlayStation that people are going to be talking about.
Elder
that
Scrolls,
would probably
baby.
be it.
At this point, I want to see my Elder Scrolls.
At this point, you got to imagine Elder Scrolls will stay multi-platform, even though we know it wasn't going to be. Yeah.
I have no doubt. Just it's like the Doom conversation. Like everyone was like talking about that, and I was like, this needed to be addressed. Like I just assumed it was going everywhere, but I don't know, because it was in the past. But who knows?
And I think what exclusivity even means, the role it plays in the market, is just totally going to be radically different in the next few years.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem exclusivity almost, if that, right?
Well,
yeah,
like I mean,
it's just disappearing.
The market is it's changing so much. I don't think a lot of us core gamers who followed it for decades it's hard to keep up with it, because a lot of the things that we assume have to work in a certain way don't work anymore. They don't work for Xbox. They don't work for PlayStation. They may or may not work for Nintendo. It's kind of hard for us to really see from the outside because of how dominant their own first party is. Like things are there's a lot of tumult right now in the way that consumer behavior actually interfaces with the business decisions. And I think that's, a loss leader approach no longer probably works. People should also prepare themselves for maybe more expensive Xbox consoles if they're not going to subsidize them anymore, for instance. But
Phil, I mean, think about it. Phil literally everything that you just said, Phil kind of just told us. He kind of told us.
Yeah.
So
I think tell 3 years, I think, or at least for about a year or so. He's been trying
because what did he say during the business update? That exclusivity is going to less and less be a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He talked about the hardware and subsidizing it and all that. So it's like they're kind of slowly but surely letting us on. And look, I'm not saying I'm in favor of all this stuff.
Right.
I'm just looking at it
what
as
they said they were going to do, though.
Yeah. it's the reality of it.
Told us.
Yeah. So you just got to prepare yourself for it and understand that there's probably going to be going into the next gen that this is just my speculation. I think Activision games, Bethesda games will probably stay multi-platform. I think Xbox Game Studio games will have a limited window of exclusivity, and then you're going to start seeing them go to other platforms. And I will go on record again. I said this 1,000 times. I'll say it again. The day that Halo and Gears go on a PlayStation, that is going to be freaking weird. But don't rule it out.
It could come sooner than we think.
Yeah.
They might pull the Band-Aid off the red line.
Just like rip it off all the way. Yeah.
So
no hair left.
Let me ask you all this question. And I'll be quiet. Do you think there is a chance in hell that, again, even with Doom, which we already know, worst kept secret, they at this showcase, the word PlayStation is even uttered on anything they show? I don't think so personally.
I don't think so. I don't think they'll actually say it. I wonder if there will be any icons there, but I don't think the words will be spoken. But I am curious to see if they do anything of the sort. I don't think they should,
No,
but I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I mean, I think afterwards we're going to find out pretty quickly about what's going where. But during the showcase, they probably keep that clean, right? Because that's all.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to taint it. It'll be instantly tainted if you do that.
You're not going to be paying attention to Perfect Dark, a gameplay demo, after they just showed the PlayStation logo on the previous game.
Right.
So
what I do think, I'll add one more thing to it. I apologize. Is I don't think the words exclusive are going to be used, but I think you will hear day one on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think they'll save any of those kind of clarifications, or any, as you might call them. I think that'll come down to Phil's interview with Ryan. Afterwards, and that'll be the context for that and the more appropriate venue, so to speak, for discussing that kind of stuff. So
RHETRI, we have 3 new members. Let's mention them real quick.
Nice. Bob MCPE just became a member. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you very, very, very much. And we got KJ Wars became a member for 6 months. Welcome to the council, sir. And like the Jack Daniels picture in your background, Homeless Bird. One of my favorite names just became a member again. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I just love that name. I think we had, we also, I wanted to show this too, because I didn't get to actually say this. Sir X-Man with the $2 says, Ubisoft, make me Hawks 3 most underrated games, man. Sir X-Man definitely knows his old school games for sure, man. So,
and one
definitely. More. That was another one. Big Man Mo, what's up? Just became a member for 6 months, brother. The showcase is going to be fire. The Avalanche has just started. Hashtag boot on next season. Keep up the great work, fellas. Much respect to you, PARRIS. Yeah, absolutely, Mo. I think now is the time. We finally get in, right? We've been asking for years. We need that momentum. We need those first-party games that come out on a great cadence every quarter, just like we were kind of promised. And I think it started with Hellblade. I think we're going to go from there, and it's going to be good, man. Like I say, this is the best time to game. We got so many damn games. I don't know what we're all up in arms about, man. There's too much to play. What's up, Hargeet? How you doing?
Yeah, welcome brother. Good to see you here. Sorry about having to jump out like that, but the power got flashed here, and I had to restart.
You're good, brother.
I apologize for that, but storms rolling through, and that's just
it happens.
That's just the way it is. Gosh, I guess let's go ahead and let's wrap this up, just in case or disaster.
I will drop as you're wrapping it up. So I'll say to all of you, appreciate you having me up. Appreciate you letting me just rant a little bit.
Thank you, PARRIS.
PARRIS, you're welcome. Thank you so much, sir, for being here.
And it's gonna be a fun couple weeks coming up here with all the showcase stuff. Looking forward to that. Anybody that's gonna be in LA during Summer Game Fest showcase, I know Hargeet, I know you're gonna be there, so I'll see you. But please come say hello to me. I promise I won't be yelling or mean.
This is super nice, super friendly, and greatly appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much.
You have a good night. Thank you.
You too, buddy.
All right, good to meet you again.
Awesome. Guys, what a great show. And the article with Jazz, I think next week will be perfect. We'll dive into it, because we're going to have members of the community here, and we'll be able to to get into it and
hash it out.
Hargeet says that he will be there, and Hargeet, I showed it earlier. Let me grab it real quick.
Yeah, he's got your cup, Hargeet. He's got the cup before we got the book, but it's coming. Yeah,
got my cup. Go. It's awesome, and waiting for the book, which I see that has been shipped out. So looking forward to that. So anyway, and Hargeet's book is now available, and you can get autographed copies like I did if you want to, or you can get what RHETRI did, just got a hardback copy sent to you. And they even have, I think, a paperback, and hopefully soon he is going to have he's going to have someone Fonz or somebody read the audiobook. I'm looking forward for that. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us here on the show, and let's go around and say, dude, one bad mother, dude. Thank you so much for being here, man. It was awesome having you on, and hopefully you'll come back soon.
Yeah, well, there's still so much to talk about, and hopefully I'll actually be talking about it finally on my channel that I feel like I've been talking about for like a year. Yeah, it's how I should like laugh. Yeah. But yeah, and that'll give me an excuse if I actually have that thing launched. Whoa,
sorry, it's tornado warnings for.
Let's
ignore that. Okay. That's probably nothing. Yeah,
just crawl into the tub. God. You know what to do.
You're getting out of here just in time. I hope you're in your basement.
Sorry about that.
Right?
He's gonna fall off shelf. He's all right.
Yeah.
So if I disappear again, it was nice knowing you. It's great to have you show with you.
Yeah. Well,
Dave literally blows away.
Okay, shut up. I can't turn it off. Sorry, it's a automatic thing. It's
life, man.
So this is definitely
trying
exciting.
to sign up.
It's not that bad. At least it isn't to me. I don't know how it is going out to the audience, but it's okay.
Tavish,
My goodness.
please tell everybody about your Etsy channel and what you have available there.
Yeah,
Before
so
I
I've got an
die.
Etsy shop. You can just search NerdPropellant on Etsy, or you can find me at NerdPropellant on Twitter. You can bug me there if you have any
the
questions
Twitters.
about stuff, or you want to see me bitch and moan about video games. And yeah, I mean, I've got weather coming through here too, so it's a weird color outside my
Same.
window. I've never seen this yellow at 8 o'clock at night. I'm not sure that's supposed to happen, but so we don't unlike you, Web Dave, we don't actually have the siren in town here. Literally doesn't work.
No.
We know it exists. It just doesn't
You
work.
have one, but it's
So
non-functional.
that's great. Yeah.
That's good.
Well, they have them every I think it's 200 or no every 200 yards. They have them throughout the whole entire city here in Owensboro.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that here, but
Yeah.
yeah, people feel free to follow me and bug me on Twitter or find me on Etsy and find something to buy. Don't forget the coupon code.
Yes.
I want to say is what
In the description
Gamers
below.
Council 20. I think.
I think it is. Yeah,
Yep.
it is in the
Double check.
description.
Yes, it's in the
Yep.
description.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh
You
man,
bet, buddy.
thanks again. One bad mother. I hope I didn't cut you off. But
No, it's fine.
when your show is when you actually do have your show come out, when your channel is up and running, though, we want to have you back just for
Promote
that too
you.
as well. I mean, obviously, we want to have you on again for other things, but and hopefully maybe after the showcase, maybe we'll get you back on too to get your thoughts and how you thought it went as well too. So just wanted to let you know that too. We're always going to promote and push you as well because like I said, fans of yours. So
Yeah, I
RHETRI,
appreciate you guys, but thank you.
Say hi to your son. And just he just appeared out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Sorry, he's famous.
There you go. RHETRI, buddy. Tell
Yes,
them, buddy, about your show on Saturdays. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm lost here, and I apologize.
I know we're all like it's all screwy. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, man. We had like 450 people between Twitter and YouTube. Thank you guys so much. That's crazy numbers for such a small show such as ours. But you guys can find me on Twitter at GamePass_daily. Sorry if I just hit the mic. Game Pass Daily on my channel where I talk about Game Pass stuff and where we have our Aim Down Sights podcast, which was yesterday, which is every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Red Dead Panda and my buddy Nero. Next to Nero, we have a lot of fun and we have great guests too. Hopefully we'll have these guys on soon. And chat, thank you guys. Like, I know some people got a little wiry with PARRIS, but I got to be honest with you. I've been listening to PARRIS since Uncle Gamer. If any of you, probably some of you have no clue what I'm even talking about. I've been listening to that guy forever. Do I agree with everything PARRIS says? Do I agree with everything that? No, I don't agree with. God, I don't even agree with what Dave says half the time. But listen, it is about respect, and I really, he's like, you don't. I really like PARRIS. So listen, just kind of keep it respectful when we have people on this show, please. We don't want to be that type of show where people feel uncomfortable and like they're going to get attacked for just being on here and giving their own opinion. You don't have to agree with them, but respectfully disagree with them. You know what I'm saying? And if we could do that, we'll all get along.
For a reason, and they will boot your ass out.
Yeah, listen, we don't want to be like the PlayStation guys, right? We want to be better than them. Let's be better than those guys. Keep it simple. That's all I'm saying. But thank you guys for coming out. Like, great turnout. Thank you OBM. Thank you Tavish for coming through as usual. We send out the bat signal. You guys are always there, so I appreciate that, guys. And great show, guys. This was fun. And go play Hellblade if you haven't played it.
That was
1 and 2.
Good. There you go. So yeah. Anyway, guys, again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you all for joining us here on the Gamers Council.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh no!